this was always a place that it's definitely a very unique place and an interesting place to work.
People drive around the corner and they're like, wow, what is this place?
One of the most popular things is this aquarium behind us.
It is. So that is a 22,000-gallon aquarium. It is definitely the highlight, and I think that's what Mr. Kirkland, that was his vision, to have a highlight as you come around the corner. And
yeah, the people are just drawn straight to it, and then, they're getting to see the fish swim around and a turtle.
And I think the vision is sort of like you're in Reelfoot Lake, only much clearer than Reelfoot Lake,
And it does have one of the cool bubbles, so if you're a kid or kid at heart, you can crawl in there and get your picture in the bubble.
You see some large crappie and spotted gar and the long nose. Here, everything that you see is something that you could potentially go outside and see. And that's sort of part of the idea of educating people about what is around them. Everything that is on display is native, and you could potentially see it right outside the door.
The award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching and listening. We got a fun show lined up for you today. We are once again at the Discovery Park of America in Union City, Tennessee, and I'm excited to have Amy helping me co-host again. And today we're going to talk with John Parr. He's the Aquarium and Wildlife Director here at the park, and we appreciate you being with us.
It's good to be here. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us in your space and invading the wildlife area today.
Right in the middle of the exhibit.
Yeah.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah, so we've done a couple shows with some guys here, and I'm excited to talk more about wildlife. The last one was about snakes and turtles, and we're going to do more. So,
we got some more guests.
Yeah, we got more guests and critters and people, so it'll be fun. So let's start off with just learning about yourself, John. What brought you to the park, and what's your career looked like over your life? Always been in wildlife?
Well, first off, I'm from here, from Obion County, and so that sort of brought me here. But I went to UTM and in biology, and then I moved to Gulfport, Mississippi for 10 years or so. Experienced Hurricane Katrina and all that stuff. But then I got my PhD from Southern Miss to the top, if you've been, and then so then I came back sort of and this was always a place that it's definitely a very unique place and an interesting place to work. There's not really, you don't really go to the middle of many cornfields and all of a sudden there's this thing here.
Yeah. As we spoke with Scott on the first episode here, he thought, people drive around the corner and they're like, wow, what is this place? Yeah.
And yes, and even when you work here, sometimes you say, what is this place? Because it's eclectic, definitely.
Well, we brought that up. Like, you see something new, or it's like, has that always been there? Because there is so much here.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. It's been fun as we've been exploring and seeing all the different things that there is to do here.
But I will have to say, as we've done a couple episodes, one of the most popular things is this aquarium behind us. So you want to talk about that?
It is. So that is a 22,000-gallon aquarium, and it is actually one of the easier things for us to take care of because there's a giant cast iron it is a bead filter that we hit a button and it kind of all sort of does it, and then I have to scrub the walls once a week, and I've been in it before, but it stays at exactly 70 degrees, so it's not exactly the most comfortable thing to swim in. It's not like you're
a little chilly.
Yeah, but and so it is definitely the highlight, and I think that's what Mr. Kirkland, that was his vision, to have a highlight as you come around the corner. And I've often wondered why they decided to put it on the second floor, but hey, they did it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I'm amazed. The people are just drawn straight to it, and then they're getting to see the fish swim around and a turtle. I see at least one turtle in there. So.
And I think the vision is sort of like you're in Reelfoot Lake, only much clearer than Reelfoot Lake, you know.
And it does have one of the cool bubbles. So if you're a kid or kid at heart, you can crawl in there and get your picture in the bubble.
That is definitely a picture spot. And whenever a kid goes missing, that's one of the first places we look.
I guess I didn't think about that. But where's the kid?
Yeah, hear the announcement over the intercom. So one neat thing, we'll come back to the vision here. We were going to talk about the vision of this area, but one neat thing about the aquarium is it's native, right? It's native species, right?
Yes, and so what we have in there is we have catfish so most of the fish that you're seeing in there have been in there for 10 years, so they've sort of gotten, you see some large crappie and we have large catfish and lake sturgeon and
We got some gar.
Gar, two kinds of gar that are spotted gar and the long nose, but we have our bass and our shell crackers and our brim. They've sort of passed on just by age. So we are looking at having, as part of our June 10th, the free fishing day, having kind of a restocking of the. We know that out in the ponds around there, which is when if you come here you can fish.
Can fish the ponds, yeah.
We talked about that. We've talked about that.
And June 10th, of course, it's free fishing day, or you don't fish without the license.
Yeah.
And so we've maybe collect some of our ideas to collect some of those bass that are out there, because we've seen some pretty big ones and put them in the community tank.
Now I will say that's okay for here, but as part of our
fish,
because they're your fish. But any other time, do not do that.
Do not move fish.
Do not move fish. It's particularly bass.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole story. We need to do a show on that.
Yeah.
But yes, but he can do that here. But anywhere else, no. No moving fish.
Don't move wildlife.
Yes.
And we have a quarantine process that's sort of a 60-day kind of thing, so that they don't bring all the diseases that could possibly be in the wild out inside.
Yeah. A lot of precautions go, I'm sure, for many aquariums and zoos, and there's all kinds of hurdles to cross, mixing and bringing in new wildlife for sure. Mm-hmm. So I got a few notes here, but the vision of this aquarium in this department, what was Mr. Kirkland's vision for this?
Well, and so this whole facility is sort of the vision of the people, he plus the people in the area. And so this is supposed to be like you go to the Memphis Zoo or the Nashville Zoo, and you might see animals from, Africa, which are definitely cool and worth seeing. But here, everything that you see is something that you could potentially go outside and see. And that's sort of part of the vision, of the idea of educating people about what is around them, immediately around them. Mm-hmm. And so we have everything that is on display is native, and you could potentially see it right outside the door.
And y'all do the education programs. We're standing right here in the spot where those programs happen. People can come around and see the turtles and see the snakes and touch them. And you got a great staff here that puts on programs.
Oh, definitely. And Eric, who was in another podcast episode, he's very enthusiastic about it. And
you can tell just a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He gets excited. Yeah, that's great.
We have another person Tiffany Miller is her name, and she takes care of more of the back of house stuff, and I sort of do both, whatever has to be done, all that.
The behind the scenes, the one that you don't see them much, but they're doing everything behind the scenes.
Yeah, and then that's something we could talk about. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes on behind. Well, you see out here.
What you see, there's tons behind the scenes.
And you talked about cleaning tanks, but there's so much more, right?
Well, yes, and I would say that based on my experience, if you want to get a turtle, you should reconsider, right? Just because they are pretty messy, and so there's lots of cleaning up, and I think that the turtle actually prefers it dirty, So
they're not looking for cleanliness.
Yeah, so we get some of them that get a little upset whenever I have to clean them, but we spend a lot of time doing that. The filter, there's various filters, and probably the easiest animal that we have is the easiest animals we have are the snakes. They're pretty. They like to be fed once a week, and we clean out their substrate once a month. And then other than that, they kind of just want to be left alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we had the pine snake on the previous episode with Eric, and you could tell it was ready to move on. It didn't want to be handled. And
No.
It was pretty active, but that's very cool. Very cool.
And we have a few of them, like the corn snake. They tend to be more. I found them to be more willing to be handled. Like it doesn't really bother them. They sort of just lay there and chill.
Yeah.
Which makes them good for people to touch and kids especially. Because as I tell them, if this snake bit you, you must be a bad person. Because I've never seen it like.
So how do you get your critters here? How do you find them? How do you acquire?
Well, I actually brought them on.
Yes.
You been stalking? No.
When I was an officer, I had to go to a home and remove a flying squirrel from a house. So, and it's delivered here.
Yeah.
So would you like to see that flying? Is this is one of them?
All right.
So we can. See
We always love show and tell.
Oh, that's right. And so you can. I don't know if you. I don't know which.
Oh, there he is. Pretty active.
You brought. Oh. We're gonna hope.
One's hiding from
We're gonna
us.
hope the other one is right inside this little.
Yeah. I was gonna say, hope it didn't run off.
We'll know if it's not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, the one that I got was hand raised, and it is illegal to take wild animals and make them pets.
Yes.
So, but we did get it a home here for educational purposes.
Yeah.
And one cool thing about these is they're not really rare. They're just you just don't really.
You don't see them. They are nocturnal. And that's what that's why you don't see them. But they are a very fascinating creature. They do not fly. They actually are more similar to a sugar glider. They glide.
Yeah. They just
So,
spread their
they have
hand
the, like,
arms
the little
out.
wings.
Yeah, webs or.
And you can see how they like to hide, and of course since they spend their days sort of covered up, and they like it dark back there, and
Yeah.
at night. Well, actually, one time I walked. We have a larger cage similar to this, but larger back there where we keep them most of the time. And I came in one morning, and one of them was like here, like on the outside, and it's one of those things where you see like I walk past.
What are you doing out?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, that kind of thing.
So he'd found a way out.
Yes, and he found, like through a little crack down at the bottom, he found a way out. And so they will do that. I think anybody that has raised animals knows that they tend to find a way. They don't really want to go anywhere. Like he was just still hanging out on the outside. He was just.
Yeah.
That's kind of like when cattle or goats get out; they always come back. Most of the time. Sometimes.
And one thing to mention, y'all are not a rehab facility. So, you don't take animals to rehab or take care of, but, they are an educational facility, and that is one reason why I could bring that animal here for you all to use as an educational facility.
Yeah.
And that's true, and that brings up one of the points that we get a lot is people calling, wanting us to take animals, and our policy is we just tell them to contact the TWRA and see, and if they decide that this is a place where we can house them, then we will consider that, but we're not rehab, and we can't take animals from people and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. Y'all work with us when it works for you, and find those rehabbers online.
Yes.
And those folks who can take those in, they have the permits to take care of the critters and.
And as we get a lot here on the park grounds, people, good Samaritans, I guess, wanting to take the little red-eared slider that's about this silver dollar size red-eared slider, and it's like that is. I know it's hard sometimes, but you might have just taken the meal from another animal, because.
And also, due to that, is one of the reasons why we're seeing some turtle populations declining because people want to put them into the pet industry and make them into the pet trade. So don't pick up the wildlife, please.
Don't pick up wildlife. Don't take wildlife home. Wildlife is meant to be wild.
Yes,
That's right, and the animals here we have would be wild, except they can't be anymore.
Right.
They've decided that they can't make it in the wild anymore.
Yeah, like that one was hand raised. So, we can't go turn it back out. We can't rehab it and put it back out. It was imprinted and hand raised.
And most of our snakes, I take a frozen mouse and set it like right in front. Some of them I sort of have to almost shove it in their mouth because they've gotten to the point where they're not interested in really hunting them down anymore.
Right. Yeah. Just put it in my cage. I'll take care of it later.
That's right.
So, and that's, like we have a partnership with y'all. So talk about some of your other partnerships that you have.
And so we have Reelfoot Lake and Paris Landing both come here on a semi-regular basis because the main thing that they have is their cool birds.
Yes.
And we enjoy seeing those. And And of course they're a big hit with everybody. And so
we had one of their owls at an event not too long ago, and he was not happy.
oh really?
It was hissing at everybody, and I was like, well, of course. I mean, good grief, we're out here in the sun, and it's hot. But yes, they do have an amazing bird program.
And that's probably the owl that I think I forgot his name, but the one that they sort of hold out all the time.
Yeah, I should remember.
It never has a issue, but that day it did.
Yeah, it was just
That's fun.
And we have outside, we have some, I guess, semi-wild ducks that sort of came in, and we have koi on the outside, and of course our fish. And if you come here on a sunny day, you'll see sliders all over the place.
So the ducks just moved in?
Yes,
They
sort of.
took over?
Yes, and unfortunately, because what I learned from this is people find duck eggs. Again, those good Samaritans find the duck eggs, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I found a duck egg," and they'll like, somebody brought one in when they were trying to be, but
they were trying to be, but that's leave wildlife wild, leave everything alone.
Yeah,
Mother Nature knows what she's doing.
And I learned the ducks it was laying the egg one at a time over the course of a few days,
Yes.
and it hadn't abandoned them.
Right.
And then we had I think 13 little ducklings pop out, and they were all cute and everything. So
Now it looks like y'all have a lot of wildlife events. So do you want to talk about some of your wildlife events that you have?
we do. We just finished with we had Bee Day, Pollinator Day, and if you're here, another semi-wild thing I guess is we do have honeybees in there. There's a Simmons barn out. The ag barn is red barn is what we all call it, and there are honeybees that can come from the outside, and they come in and they're there on a glass display, and you can see them. And we've had an issue with those. Again, it's one of those weird things because animals don't necessarily like the same conditions as humans, because when they first went in there, it was not air conditioned, and so now they've air conditioned it for human comfort, and the bees don't like it. They want it warm, and they've had some struggles over winters and that kind of thing to keep them around. But we keep trying. It's kind of cool though.
It's neat to see those bees. I was there and I saw them. I guess they can go out, right, and come back. And
yes, they're sort of like it looks. I assume it's probably exactly the same as like your dryer vent on the outside of your house.
Yeah,
they sort of go in and out through that. And one day we had actually a wild swarm just outside, and our beekeeper came and found the queen and put it down in a little box. And so
And that's pretty cool. If you've never seen that, actually somebody come and get them. We had some honeybees show up at our house when I was a kid, and so we had to call somebody because actually my mom's highly allergic, so she stayed inside, but Dad called a friend and they came over and got them, and that was the coolest thing I saw, because I was like, wow, you're just going, you got this bee suit on and looks like smoke, and it was fascinating. When you're a kid, you're like, oh, that's just cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And we have we have Bee Pollinator Day, and we had some butterflies. We've raised butterflies for the hospice. They do a butterfly release every year, and we sort of raise those butterflies for them and watch them until they become butterflies from caterpillars. Then then we have Fishing Day coming up, so you can come in free with a fishing pole. And it's that kind of just sort of promote the outdoors. We were celebrating Turtle Day, not actually on National Turtle Day, but we're celebrating it a little.
You can celebrate Turtle Day anytime.
Anytime you want. Same thing with Snake Day.
Turtles are probably the thing that we have most of here, so we're sort of doing our own little Turtle Day. And we have Snake Day, and then we're just going to have a general Tennessee Wildlife Day, and I think y'all are bringing the wildlife truck.
Yeah,
we're going to bring the trailer up and set it up.
Awesome. So. Yeah, Amy's got a great display, trailer display that shows some of the native wildlife here in Tennessee,
and then some non-native too.
That's true.
And then I also want to make sure I shout out to UTM, and they're so close here that we have ornithologists that come, and herpetologist comes that sort of brings stuff and helps us out on educating the public, and they're both real good, and we appreciate UTM.
Well, I know Scott was mentioning in his show that we did with him about the fishing and stuff that happens. Y'all do concerts out here, and the kids can fish and
Exactly.
enjoy the lake. And even if you have a membership here, you can come and fish anytime, right? Is that how that works as far as long as you got your license? And
yes,
you're
That's
good to go?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yes, you can. And the Rhythm on the Rails is what we're doing. What happens in May and June. So every Friday night you can come and fish, and especially as it gets hotter, you'll probably want to do it at that later time of the day.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can come fish, and we have several people that do. I've seen one person that actually works here, and he fishes a lot out in the pond, and so.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, do you offer that? And I know, what was it stocked when y'all built the place? So those fish have grown.
And kind of, what I've heard, and I assume this is true because I wasn't here since the beginning, is that it wasn't stocked. All those fish have sort of just made their way here.
Somehow. Okay. All right. But that's awesome that's offered. And, that's you got wildlife, and you got, what you can interact with out there fishing and things like that. And then you got what you can see. I mean, you got beavers and raccoons.
I think that the largest complaints we get are with skunks, and it happens sort of when the Rhythm on the Rails starts, because the skunks, I'm sure, were doing their thing, like their same thing.
Love is in the air.
And so then when Rhythm and the Rails happens, then they're like, oh, there's skunks. Well,
We have baby skunks everywhere.
and so
February is the month of love, and then there comes babies, and that comes with Rhythm on the Rails. So then there you go.
Yeah.
we actually had one small skunk, and Eric and I went out there because the maintenance people were changing the air filters, and there was a skunk with its head stuck in the air conditioner, like it was stuck in just a little hole. And Eric managed to rescue it.
I can remember somebody skunks got in their air conditioner unit and sprayed, and it went all through the house.
There's no going back there.
No. So you do have some scape artists around here, right?
Oh yeah, we have. So this guy was one of them at one point, but then we had
Got another escape artist down here.
one of the one of the turtles that Eric brought out. It managed to climb out of a container. We had to watch it on video. Just sort of came in and flopped there on the ground. You could see it like, oh, what do I do now? But this guy. So we have recently taken because we're trying to get ready to stock some additional fish, and we need to quarantine them. Mm-hmm. So we had these guys like in the back in this quarantine tank, but we need it for the fish, so we put them in the community tank, which is what we call the large 22,000 gallon tank. And so we have this guy who likes to bask in a corner, and twice I came in, actually 3 times this turtle was just in the floor. Like just sort of scurrying around. So I had to figure out, how is this turtle getting out? So adding some extra netting and whatnot, and we get this. So this is a red-eared slider, I guess I should
There's
say.
always one. It's like cows. There's always one.
I'm trying to see if they eat little fish, so sometimes they confuse it. I think they eat fish here, but what I've learned about turtles is they eat everything, anything. And I guess that's why they're survivors. But you can't really see his red ears from this angle.
No.
But maybe we can get him to come out.
We're withdrawn.
And this is a water turtle, right? It likes the water.
This is a red air slider.
Yep.
Yeah, so it likes to, and it likes to bask, so we put floating
Those are the
things
ones
in.
when you're out fishing that you see up on the logs or stacking on each other, and that's what
we
typically see.
We saw one out there in the pond on the little dam, and we were watching it, and the kids were like, that was not real. It's not moving. And so we had this argument between the family that half of us said it's real, half of us said no, it's a fake one. So we came back, still there. We're like, it has to be fake. And then my daughter saw it jump off right at that moment. She's like, no, it's real. It moved.
And if you see them out there, you'll notice like this. You'll really recognize how clean this turtle is, because those turtles out there, they love to be covered in stuff.
Yeah.
They have their own ecosystem
growing on them. Yeah.
It's kind of fun, but yeah. So
and they're very vibrantly colored.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, I think. Oh,
there we go. Your mouth.
Yeah. You can see his ears a little bit there. I won't get too close, but
yeah, you don't want to lose a finger now.
well, they have it did bite me once in here, and it drew blood. So they do hurt, but it was my fault I was trying to feed another turtle and ignoring him, so he didn't like that. So
It just took a bite out of you.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd say in your line of work, you have to kind of watch your back in some cases.
Oh,
when you're dealing with all these different turtles and different aquariums and tanks, you got to know what's around you.
That's true. Like when I was in the community tank, I noticed that I don't know if it's just our fish or fish in general, they don't really seem to care that I was there. They were just like hitting me, and like they weren't really doing anything, just kind of bumping in and bumping off. It's just like, I guess ours have gotten used to.
Yeah, used to people.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that we asked Eric this, but we asked Scott, what's your favorite part of this park? I know you're the wildlife guy, but what's one of the things that stands out to you that you like best about Discovery Park of America?
Well, in addition to how like I said earlier, eclectic, how there's just so much variety here, you kind of can't get bored. I guess it's sort of like a ADD person's dream, maybe, or maybe nightmare. I'm not sure which. Yeah. But there's so many things. But I would say that because before I did this, I was a docent, just sort of part-time. And there we have the Japanese garden outside, and there's koi out there, and it's kind of like they have the music playing, and you can just sit out there, and it's kind of nice all the time of the year. Yeah. So that's probably my favorite spot in the park.
That's those gardens are pretty. You can see them from the tower up there looking out, and you can see the different gardens. I think you were pointing those out to us the other day, and it's just I'm sure some of the wildlife those gardens attract are cool to sit and watch too.
Yeah, we have to sometimes. Well, this time of the year, like we have it always happens sort of in the spring when we had a baby possum the other day. It was in the children's area, and so when I went out there because they called me out there, and some child was like protecting it from the other children, and I saw this horrified little possum curled up out there on the playground. I had to rescue the possum from the children.
And that's I could see that.
Yeah, well, the grounds are beautiful, so there's no telling what wildlife will be attracted. Do you ever see deer running around out here anywhere?
I haven't really seen it. I guess the fencing is pretty good at keeping the deer out.
Yeah, jumping in, but I'm sure they got them around here.
We definitely have raccoons and skunks, and in this area there's deer all over the place. So I'm sure that if they've never made it in, they've gotten close. The fence rows, I'm sure, are pretty good for them.
Yeah. Well, when we were up in the tower the other day looking over, I think it's beautiful. You see all the ag fields around and all the stuff that goes on here. It's just it's a beautiful park.
And if you hear the background, you'll notice we have some very excited kids that getting to see some wildlife around here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you're hearing them, they're pretty jacked because this is great. They're getting to see it.
Yeah,
they're super excited.
It's what. All the kids love, and they're going through the little view tank there.
They're in the view tank, yeah.
Well, this has been fun. John, I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me, and thanks for coming here and help us promote our wildlife, and hopefully we'll help you promote the wildlife in Tennessee as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's very cool that you can come here and kind of see what's around you right here in Union City and Reelfoot and all that fun stuff. So.
Oh, it's a gorgeous place.
Yeah. Well, this is Tennessee Wildcast. Amy, thank you. Appreciate you helping co-host this one again. We got some more shows we're going to shoot here at the park, so keep coming back. This has been fun. Tennessee Wildcast. Find us at tnwildlife.org. You can subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcasting platform. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're out there everywhere, so follow us, like us, share us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.